This one came on his first at-bat. The long shot to deep center field. But that was not going to be the only one he would hit on the night. For Canseco, it's he at the top, starting the day in the home run department. His second at-bat, a tremendous shot, 420 feet into the seats in left field. The Oakland A's, Norm Hitzges, are as hot as you would expect them to be.
Well, they've got Canseco out of his mini slump. They've got Steinbach and Lansford and Randolph all back off the disabled list. They're healthy. They're playing well. They're pitching well. They're hitting well. They're fielding well. This is an uncatchable team the way they're playing right now. But, Gary, they've been uncatchable in the stretch the last 2 years. The last 2 Augusts and Septembers combined, they're exactly a 2 out of 3 baseball team. 74 and 37 in 88 and 89 in the stretch.
That's an unbelievable record to wrap it up with. For the California Angels, it has been a long season. They're not playing 500 baseball overall, and here at home they're playing just 25 and 25. This ball club has struggled to win.
Well, they've dropped off in one-run decisions. Last year they were a miracle team, being 13 over. But this club has such horrid injury problems. If you take all the players who were hurt this year and unavailable for play, Doug Rader has lost 600 player days to injury. His average unavailable players, 6 per day for the whole season.
Compare that with the Oakland A's right now. Nobody on the A's on the DL. Our starting pitchers in tonight's game. We'll see the left-hander Jim Abbott going for the Angels. Scott Sanderson makes the start for the A's. Into tonight's play, and for the California Angels, winners of just 4 of their last 10 games. They're just trying to get back to that 500 mark. They are 51 and 55 on the season. And there's the man that everybody's talking about, Jose Canseco. And we talked to Jose before tonight's game about the dynasty of the A's, Jose?
Definitely. The dynasty's been here since '88. I think '88, our lack of experience was the main determiner why the Dodgers won the World Series there. We really tried to do too much instead of just everyone trying to do their small part as individual players. In the '89 season, people saw the A's go into Toronto, win 4 out of 5 games, play the Giants, and really put everything together and sweep them. They really didn't even stand a chance.
Jose Canseco believes it's for real. He said that before the season started in spring training, and he may just be right, Norm.
The one wonderful thing about Jose, no matter what you think of him and some of the things he's done and some of the things he continues to do, is he's wonderful copy. Last week they played the Angels, and someone asked Jose about the possibility of a miracle Angel run, and Jose said after watching them, for them to catch us, we'd all have to go blind.
He'll be at a card show tomorrow. Here's your $5 million man. He and Ricky Henderson are doing a card show together tomorrow. How much do you think you'd have to pay to get an autograph of Jose Canseco tomorrow? $22.50. And for Ricky Henderson, $20.
That's pending what they do tonight.
Well, it can only go up, I'll tell you that much. It won't go down. So the money keeps pouring in, but he keeps pouring it out. Cecil Fielder did have a home run today, by the way, so he and Jose Canseco are tied for first right now with 34 home runs. There's the umpiring crew. Darrell Cousins will be working the plate tonight. Terry Cooney will be at first base. Tim Cheetah will be at second, and Rick Reed, the 9-year veteran, is at third base. Terry Cooney, the veteran, on this one. So those are the umpires working the second game of this 4-game set. There is Tony La Russa, who continues to run this ball club about as well as any manager can run a team. A lot of people forget it's not easy to manage when you're winning, just as it's not easy to manage when you're losing.
And to keep all those egos together at once.
And he's got plenty of those he has to work with day in and day out, and nobody does it any better than Tony La Russa. All right, from the Big A in Anaheim, here's our Sears Die-Hard starting lineup for the visiting Oakland A's. Ricky Henderson leading it off as the DH tonight. Carney Lansford back in the lineup at third base. Jose will be batting third, playing right field. Dave Henderson, hot bat right now in center, the cleanup spot. Terry Steinbach will be catching. Mark McGuire's at first base. Lance Blankenship plays the outfield and the infield. Willie Randolph back at second base, and Mike Gallego will bat ninth, and he will play short. Defensive alignment tonight for the Angels. Dave Winfield will be in right field. Devon White is back up. He's in center. Dante Bichette in left. Donnie Hill will play third base tonight. Doug Schofield will be at short. Johnny Ray at second base. Lee Stevens will be at first. Lance Parrish will do the catching, and the lefty Jim Abbott's on the mound.
22-year-old Jim Abbott's had an up-and-down season, earned on average in the low 4s. Abbott just can't seem to get a streak put together. He'll pitch well for a game or two, and then he won't pitch well for a game or two. Jim Abbott is a fastball, slider, and changeup pitcher. The fastball will be there in the low 90s. For a young pitcher, he shows an uncanny ability to throw inside, and he would also keep the ball in the yard. When Jim Abbott is correct, Gary's four-man infield, Hill, Schofield, Ray, and Stevens, will get a lot of work because he's a ground ball pitcher. When he's not right, the outfield, Bichette, White, and Winfield will get to run a little bit.
And he has given up just 8 home runs, so he's had the ground ball mostly working for him this season. Against Oakland, he's 0-1 this year. Dropped a 5-3 decision in Oakland on July 24. He has never beaten the Oakland A's. Last year he was 0-2, and the ERA against him last year was 6. Pretty good start though this year. Just 2 runs on 7 hits and 7+ innings in that loss that he took. This ballpark subject to give up some home runs here at the Big A in Anaheim. It's not really a hitter's park except for the long ball. You see the dimensions of it here. 333 down the left field line, 370, 404, big poke to center, 370 right center, and right straight down that line at 338 in right field.
This is one of the fairest parks in the American League. There's a reasonable amount of foul territory, not too much, not too little. The fences are reachable. It's a pretty fair baseball park, pitcher and hitter.
Well, let's see what happens tonight. A lot of home runs last night with Jose Canseco getting involved with his 2. Ricky Henderson is coming to the plate, and as we mentioned, is the designated hitter. This is another thing that Tony La Russa likes to do. One way to give your players rest is just sit them out of the game. The other way in the American League is to put them in the DH role, keep them out of the field. And he will do that from time to time with just about everybody in the lineup. He has the advantage of being able to do that because of the depth of talent. There's the league's leading hitter, Rafael Palmeiro, chasing him at 327, starting the day for Texas. But Ricky's on top, also leads in runs scored, and the on-base percentage, he's best at that, and he's second in slugging percentage. Jim Abbott's pitch to him is up high, and we are underway here at the Big A. And that, of course, one of the incredible numbers of Ricky Henderson. 43 home runs, 3 of those have been hit this season. And Abbott's out of the strike zone on it, ball 2.
That's the one dimension that a lot of the other terrific leadoff hitters in baseball history haven't had. They won't hit the ball out of the park on you, and Henderson will. He'll finish his career with more than 200 homers.
And all that speed, and all those hits, and all those runs.
You know, Gary, what a lot of people don't talk about as Henderson closes in on the all-time stolen base record is, if this guy stays healthy and stays motivated, he's got a shot at Ty Cobb's all-time runs scored record.
And the strike is in by Abbott. 3 balls and 1 strike. So Jim Abbott trying not to put the leadoff man on here, especially when it's Ricky Henderson. And for those who have wondered about Henderson being motivated, even though the legs have bothered him a bit this season, there is no indication that Henderson's not ready to be motivated the entire year. And there's the first mistake that'll be made by Abbott. He now creates a problem for himself as he puts the leadoff man on, and the league's leading base stealer, Ricky Henderson, with 47. And he is still chasing. Lou Brock with that 938 mark, Hamilton at 937. Henderson still got a shot at it this season. They catch them all. He will someday, barring an injury.
He feels he'll catch him this season with health, that he ought to go by him this season. By the way, Henderson in his career has now scored more than 1,250 runs. 2245 is the all-time record, so it's under 1,000 as a difference, and he's only 31 years old.
Carney Lansford chops it off foul. Lansford has been on the DL for a part of this season. The Oakland A's have had their DL problems as well, but they do have everybody back. He missed 15 games with a hamstring pull. Has played now in 7 games. And trying to get that bat going again. 6 for 25 since coming back off the DL. This ball club, the A's, are tough here at the Big A, though. They like to play here and hit here. Lansford takes it inside. Lansford 407 in his last 6 games here in California.
Funny thing is, now Carney Lansford is considered one of Tony La Russa's leaders on his team. When La Russa managed the White Sox, Lansford and La Russa had a big to-do. Lansford thought La Russa had his pitchers throwing at him, and they deeply disliked each other.
Henderson not going. Chance for 2. Jim Abbott makes the stop. There's one. Schofield got the double play. Carney Lansford hits into the double play, and Jim Abbott kicks it off right from the mound.
The one question about Jim Abbott, born without a right hand, was his ability to field and make plays like this. People always wonder about the bunt. Scouts didn't wonder about the bunt. They wondered about his ability to turn two on the ball to the mound and to handle balls hit straight back at him. You can't do it any better than this. You turn, you put a perfect throw to the shortstop and relay and get a fast man by 2 steps. It can't be done better.
Right on the money. So that takes care of Henderson. That's a big play early in the game to give Ricky Henderson off the base pass. So that means Canseco will be swinging for the fences here with 2 down and nobody on. And a broken bat grounded to short. Schofield. And Abbott is out of the inning. And he faces only 3 even after he gave up the leadoff walk to Henderson. Johnny Ray, the veteran, at second base, and Dick Ducky Schofield will be at shortstop. Defensive alignment looks like this. Canseco, Henderson, and Blankenship. Lansford, Gallego, Randolph, and McGuire. Steinbach will do the catching, and Scott Sanderson, right-hander, pitching.
Happy late birthday to Scotty Sanderson, who turned 34 about a week and a half ago. Came over as a free agent from the Cubs and has taken Storm Davis's place in this rotation.
Brian Downing, who can also hit home runs leading off, takes the first pitch for a ball.
And he's doing for them just what Storm Davis did. Give him 5, give him 6, give him 7. They're doing for Sanderson just what they did for Davis, winning games.
And he can, if it stays fair. Foul ball. Downing stayed at home plate to watch. He knew he had enough of it, but he pulled it a little too much. Between he and Ricky Henderson, you'll get about as many leadoff home runs from guys as ever in baseball. Watch this. Dozen seats over. Sanderson decides I'll stay away. 2-1.
Scotty Sanderson's already won as many games this year as he did last year, 11. He's got a chance to pass his all-time career high of 16, set nearly a decade ago in Montreal.
Well, figures it would happen with the Oakland A's. With all they've got to get somebody like Sanderson, another great acquisition for them. Help out on the mound.
Well, this is a dream team for Sanderson to pitch on. He's about a 6-inning pitcher. Well, who gives you the best last 3 innings in baseball? The Oakland bullpen.
Great staff with Eckersley to wrap it up. That's off the bat. On that check swing, Sanderson makes the play to McGuire, and Downing is retired. 1 away. Doug Rader, understandably, has been a bit testy this season, just wanting to get everybody back, so he's got a lineup that he can use regularly. The injuries have hurt. Certainly Devon White, a terrible start, being sent down to AAA, lost what he thought was going to be a center fielder for the whole year, so it's been tough.
He has never started the everyday lineup he wanted to put on the field this year. He's never had them all available all at once this season.
That will give managers gray hair. Donnie Hill's got a 6-game hit streak. Coming into this one, 11 for 27 during that 6-game streak. And he's a former Oakland A. Played with the A's in the organization from 81 to 86 and was actually with the big club 83 through 86. Some old teammates here. That one misses outside. We'll keep you posted on a couple of almost no-hitters again in this year of the no-hitter and almost no-hitters. There were 2 more today. And all the Major League Baseball scores that are in and will be coming in. We'll take you back to our Baseball Tonight studios. Charlie Steiner's there standing by for us. 2-0 delivery to Hill, and that's outside, and Scott Sanderson's behind 3-0.
Along that same injury line, you go back to opening day and you take a look at the regular lineup of the Angels that opening day and the starting pitcher. 7 of the 10 guys in the opening day lineup have either been on the DL or sent to Edmonton or both this year.
A lot of traveling for the wrong purpose. Strike on the outside corner, 3-1.
And that opening day lineup of Doug Rader didn't include the left side of his infield, Gary. We were here early in the season. Schofield and Howell were out for a long time to begin the year.
That's why they are 15 games out starting today's play. 3-1 delivery. To first, McGuire in the short hop. Hello. That one looks pretty easy. There are 2 down. Devon White will be coming up. Let's check in our Baseball Tonight studios. Charlie?
All right, Gary. So what happens when your team is down 13-1? You plunk somebody on the backside. And that's what Steve Crawford did to Brady Anderson. Come and get him, and he did. And we had a bench clearing free-for-all. Had another one later in the game. Birds lead 13-1 on home runs by Ripken, Horn, and Orsolak. Gary?
How many times have we seen that picture this season? Baseball may have to speak to that during the offseason to just stop that.
What kind of mental midgetry does it take to invent things like that?
Devon White. And he takes the strike on the outside corner. Even Brooks Robinson, the manager of the Orioles, who got hit a few times himself, has said this season he just doesn't understand why this charging of the mound is taking place so frequently now. Good breaking ball away. White's behind 0-2.
Well, I don't understand, Gary, the thought behind the pitcher throwing it here. Let me get this straight. I stink, so I hit you to make you pay for it. That's bright.
Well,
that takes a lot of smarts.
The other part of that is, though, is getting you off the plate. That wasn't the case, but in that situation. And you will see those two teams again on Sunday night, by the way. The Kansas City Royals, the Baltimore Orioles on our ESPN Sunday night baseball game. That'll be at 8 o'clock Eastern. So you'll have a chance to do it again. Ben McDonald's the scheduled starter for the Orioles.
Ooh.
Frank Robinson said himself, it's still part of the game, brushing people back. Now, that's not the situation at 13-1. Pitchers still have a right to claim a part of the plate, but hitters don't think so anymore. And they'll charge the mound just for being brushed back and hit on pitches that aren't that far off the plate. They just don't think pitchers have that right anymore.
And yet, it's both sides. Hitters don't think the pitcher has the right, and the pitcher thinks he has the right. Well, if things are going bad, I'll just hit someone.
Fouled off. Well, as I've heard most veteran ball players say, you can hit me, just don't hit me in the head. So long as you don't take my career and threaten it, getting hit by a pitch is part of baseball.
Yeah, but on the other hand, if these guys were that good, they'd know where the ball was going when they threw it most of the time.
They do. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Breaking ball got him. Good pitch. Sanderson picks up the strikeout on a slow curve. Devon White frozen and talking to himself on that one.
Just a light.
Number 42.
Beautiful night here at the Big A. Floating some message balloons up here, I guess. Another good crowd on hand here tonight. They are drawing over 32,000 here at California this season, even though the ball club's 4 games below 500. No scores to go to the second inning. It'll be Dave Henderson. Hindu will be leading it off. And he's a hot stick right now. And against Abbott, 4 for 6 and 2 home runs off Jim Abbott this year and last year. And Abbott's delivers a strike on the outside corner. Hindu's got an interesting T-shirt on. We can't see it under there. Gary Gaetti's working with a missing in action group in Minnesota. And Dave Henderson has an MIA T-shirt on from the Gaetti group. Chopped towards third. Johnny Hill gets in on the stretch. That T-shirt lists all of the MIAs from Minnesota still missing in action on the back of it. And the front of it has the MIA logo on it. And Henderson wears that before every game, and a couple of other A's, in fact, have picked up on it. They raise money for the MIA organization. It's a nice touch. 1 down. Terry Steinbach coming up. He and Hasse back doing the catching. Steinbach, one of those who has been on the DL part of this season for the A's. Up high by Abbott.
He had a pulled muscle on his left side. Missed about 3.5 weeks in July. But the A's just rolled merrily along.
Steinbach came back last Saturday. First game since July 2nd. He too. Tough hitter here in Anaheim. 324 here in Anaheim. But you see, since coming off the DL, and that's a long time to be on it, he hasn't found the touch yet again. Does this time. Gap left center field. That's going to be a gapper. 1 hop off the wall. Steinbach's on his way to second base. And the Oakland catcher picks up the double with 1 down, and that'll be his 10th 2-bagger of the season.
There's a sort of a line of demarcation for Jimmy Abbott. It's the belt. When the ball's above the belt, it seems to be a little flatter for Jim. And that ball was up above the belt and right out over the plate. That's definitely living dangerously for Jim Abbott.
Steinbach just jumped at that pitch.
Well, that's the kind that you signal the 53-year-old man to throw you in batting practice. You say, right up about here, coach.
And if you make one of those on this guy, even though he's batting just .216, you won't see the ball again. McGuire had a 7-game hit streak, ended some time ago, and since then has really struggled. 1 for 19 with 8 strikeouts during that time. McGuire fouls it off. Strike 1.
right now, at their present paces, Canseco and McGuire figured a team for more than 90 homers. That's going to be more than a few teams in the big leagues have this year, Gary.
Yeah, Canseco's with 34. McGuire's third in the league with 27, despite that average. And you saw the RBI output. Incredible. Just over 200. Chance for the play at first. Hill holds the runner. Makes the good throw. There are two down. Steinbach remains at second base. Chicago and Detroit went at it today. Charlie?
Actually, it was Milwaukee, but who's quibbling? White Sox swept 2 from the Brewers last night. Ivan Calderon hits his 10th home run of the year, a 3-run shot that gives the White Sox a 6-1 lead. Randy Veras victimized by the home run by Calderon.
Well, Charlie had it 50% right. That's batting 500. Not bad in this game. How about the White Sox winning the doubleheader against Milwaukee yesterday after coming off a bad series in Boston where they got swept?
And they're up to the second best record in baseball now.
Second best. Runner at second base, and here's Lance Blankenship. 3 times he has been sent down to AAA, and each time he's come back. He's an infielder and an outfielder playing left field in tonight's game. But the plate has been a tough spot for him at the major league level. Takes the strike from Abbott. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Chicago White Sox chasing Oakland. 3.5 games behind starting the day. The White Sox second only to Oakland in winning percentage. Whoever would have thought that? Even better than Cincinnati. Steinbach off second base. The 1-1. Johnny Ray. That'll do it. Well, he's getting the ground balls. That means Abbott is on. Runner left at second.
Before we send you back to Anaheim, I want to tell you about that long-rumored trade involving Dale Murphy and Jeff Parrott. It is rumored no more. Dale Murphy and a player to be named later on his way to Philadelphia in exchange for right-handed reliever Jeff Parrott and 2 players to be named later. Let's go back now to Gary Thorne. Gary?
Thank you, Charlie. So it's not pie in the sky anymore. And Dale Murphy, their great star in Atlanta, moves on. The moon is over the Big A in Anaheim. Gary Thorne, Norm Hitzges, great to have you with us for the second half of our doubleheader here on ESPN. No score. As we go to Dave Winfield, and hello. He's so big he probably didn't even know that hit him. That was a real slow breaking ball by Sanderson that just floated out of his hand and hit him in the back.
I don't know if I've ever seen a slow curveball further from the plate. This one broke and hit him in the backside. If this ball doesn't break a little, it goes behind him.
He had so much strided into it. Look at that. That didn't hurt, Dave. Don't give me that. Winfield hit by a pitch on at first base to lead off the second inning on Sanderson. Scott Sanderson has now hit a couple of batters this season. And here's Lee Stevens, young man called up on July 16. Get some playing time in here and hopefully one of their starters for the long term. As this California ball club, they will never say it, but as you go to this part of the season when they're 15 games out, they've got to take a look at some people for next year. Maybe the Oakland A's did it to them a week or so ago. The A's had a 6-0 lead. The California Angels had a 6-0 lead over the A's, and they lost the game. And it was one of those games. Talk to the players. It felt like a backbreaker. Grounded by McGuire, foul. Just felt like this is what this season's all about, and it ain't going to get any better.
Well, it's one injury after another. You wait for Schofield and Howell to get well, and then down goes somebody else. And out for the year have been McClure and Minton, 2 key members of their bullpen. Stevens is playing now because Wally Joyner's on the disabled list with a fractured kneecap. Chili Davis is out of this lineup. It just goes on and on and on for California.
Breaking ball again. Sanderson likes that slow curve and the way it's working tonight, and the count remains 0-2. Tony La Russa got himself a little prize over there. Not that he needs it. I think he's going to give it back. Stevens, 6'4", 205-pounder out of Kansas City. Big kid who's been in minor league ball since '86. Played at AAA last season where he hit .247. 14 home runs. He can hit the long ball. Randolph not going to get that one. And a base hit for Stevens. On the way to third is Dave Winfield. The throw will not be in time. And the Angels have runners at first and third with nobody out for Lance Parrish. Check in with Charlie Steiner. Charlie?
Gary, in the bottom half of the seventh in Arlington, Texas, the Rangers had runners at first, second, and third for Steve Buechele, who cranked it off Jim Acker, and that's his 5th home run of the season, a grand slam home run. Rangers all over the Blue Jays, 9-1.
Their ball club's hot, Norm.
Best team in baseball right now. That'll be 34 out of 52, and that's 65% for the last 2 months. If only they hadn't been, pick a word, abysmal, awful, wretched in May.
They started the day 11 games out in third place behind Oakland and the White Sox. Lance Parrish now with the RBI opportunity. Look at the average for Parrish. What a turnaround season it has been for the A's catcher. He is looking for his first hit ever off Sanderson. 0 for 7 lifetime. First and third base occupied. Stevens at first with a single. Nobody out, and Parrish goes after the high delivery by Sanderson. No score here, and that single, the first hit to be picked up by the A's. He has not had the long ball for a while.
In fact, that was a game we did in which Parrish hit a 2-run homer off Todd Stottlemyre with Jim Abbott pitching. That was the only runs of the game.
Here's the 0-1. Parrish, did he go around? They want it checked at first base. Strike was called anyway. 0-2. Home plate umpire Darrell Cousins didn't need any help. They were the home runs for the Angels, and that's true for most ball clubs. If you can get the long ball, it just makes such a difference. And these Oakland A's are a prime example of that. This A's ball club, talk about their hitting, and they're 11th in average. Breaking ball. Boy, that is on tonight. Terry Steinbach signals out as he throws the ball back. That's the one, baby. That slow curveball's just tearing him up at the plate early on here, and Parrish is the first out.
Sanderson seemed to have rediscovered that pitch this season. He's always had it in his repertoire, but it's really working for him this year. And it makes a fairly mediocre fastball look even faster. Scott Sanderson used to really be able to hum it when he came up. But now, you know, with the effects of the back problem and everything, he's had to go to more of a finesse pitcher repertoire. 2
strikeouts for him. Still 2 on. Now the double play will get him out of the inning. He comes right back with that off-speed breaking ball and gets it on the inside corner. Dante Bichette. Talking about people who are expected to be the future for the California Angels. This is another one of them. He and Devon White in the outfield, they hope, will be there for a while. That's 3 slow curves in a row, and it's a strike. 0-2. And turning around is Dante Bichette.
Tell you what, if that's a strike, then the strike zone's wider than the fridge. Good grief.
It's that old Expando plate again. 0-2, 1 away. Runners at first and third. Breaking ball. Going to be tough to turn 2. Gallego's got to get 1. Does, but a run will score. Dave Winfield crosses on the slow ground ball. Credit the RBI to Bichette. That will be his 46th. He's second on the club in runs batted in, and it's a 1-0 Angel lead.
Sometimes a little weak ground ball to shortstop is a really good piece of hitting, and that was a good piece of hitting. Bichette was way out on the front foot, not expecting another slow curve, and he just sort of paddle ball that little weak grounder out to shortstop, but it gets a run in. It gets the runner up to second, where now if they could get another base hit, this could be a 2-run inning for California.
Runner in scoring position for Johnny Ray. Lee Stevens is down at second base. Let's see what Ray can do. Straight away, not deep in the outfield on him. And Scott Sanderson's just not going to go away from that pitch. He figured the plate was so wide the other way. Let's try it that way. But he doesn't get the call.
This is a guy who's seen a lot of Sanderson because each of them spent the majority of their career in the National League. Ray's batted 41 times against Scotty Sanderson and is nearly a 400 hitter against him.
And a lifetime 291 major league hitter whose average obviously is down for this 33-year-old veteran second baseman. There it is again. Ray chops it to second. Willie Randolph's got it. Over to McGuire, and that will do it. With a hit batter, Winfield Comes around to score. He let it off being hit by the pitch on Sanderson. A run in on a hit and one left on. Left-handers, and that's a little better than the overall Oakland average of 254.
Gary, I got a trivia question for you. We'll let our audience think along for a moment, all right?
Sure.
Willie Randolph leads off. I want you to tell me what these 6 men have in common in baseball. Willie Randolph is one of the 6. Amos Otis, Norm Cash, Eric Soderholm, Bobby Grich, and Dusty Baker. Randolph, Otis, Cash, Soderholm, Grich, and Baker.
Haven't got the foggiest idea.
Tell you after,
but we'll find out.
Tell you after the first pitch.
Willie came off the DL on Wednesday. Missed 18 games. Takes the pitch inside from Abbott, so he too trying to get the bat going again. Just a 235 average. Pick up from the Los Angeles Dodgers this season. And
those are the 6 people who made the last out in Nolan Ryan no-hitters.
It's a pretty select group.
You know, those are good players to get for the last out. Randolph, Otis, Cash, Soderholm, whose career was torn up by a bad knee, Grich, and Baker. That's 6 pretty good baseball players.
Not bad. By Abbott, by Ray. Base hit into center field. Willie Randolph. Devon White will get it back in, and the leadoff man's on here in the 3rd inning. That'll be the 2nd hit. Picked up by the A's. Randolph at first base.
Number 9.
And we'll bring up the number 9 hitter, Mike Gallego. A couple of no-hitters. Talking about no-hitters today, Norm. Doug Drabek almost had one, 8 2/3 innings. Tom Candiotti almost had one, 7 2/3 innings.
Difference is Drabek won his game.
Candiotti did not. So it was another day of the almost. One more no-hitter, and it, of course, will set a new record for no-hitters in a season. 7 already. In at 3rd base is Hill. Thinking about a bunt from Gallego, who's thinking the same way. Parrish to first, and he dropped the ball. They had it. Lee Stevens, had he held on to it, had the out on a good throw by Parrish, because Terry Cooney, the first base umpire, already had the shoulder cocked.
We've seen this a few times this year. Lee Stevens applies the tag to the dirt.
And in the process lost the baseball. Gallego checking now. The Lashman at 3rd base on the sign here, and you see getting back to the bag Randolph, who knows he almost got burned on that one.
To be fair to Lee Stevens, he did have to start toward the plate to possibly field a bunt and then break back to the bag.
Gallego trying to bunt and misses this one, and the count is a ball and a strike. Gallego not happy. Thought he should have been able to get that one down. Teams will run against the California Angels. They've been successful in 21 of the last 23 stolen base chances. So can look for some running to go on tonight if they get on. Rene Lashman coaching at 3rd. Randolph at 1st picking up the sign.
Abbott doesn't have a particularly good move to first base, but he does have a pretty quick move to the plate with the ball. And it's resulted in only 12 people trying to steal against him this year.
1-1. Gallego is going to swing away inside. 2 balls and a strike.
Notice how little leg motion that Abbott has when he comes from the stretch. Abbott, when there's no one on, will kick a little bit. He's perfected the slide step out of the stretch. Notice how little this front leg moves in the way of up and down when he comes to the plate.
Gallego, the chance for another double play. Donnie Hill, that's 1. Johnny Ray, that's 2. Second double play they've turned tonight. Well, the California Angels helping out Jim Abbott, who gets those ground balls, and they can be turned into double plays, and what a difference. The Angels have now turned 122 double plays this season. That's the most in the American League.
And Abbott himself averages getting more than a ground ball double play per game. In fact, Jim Abbott's in the top 3 in the American League in throwing ground ball double plays.
The double play is such a big out.
Jim Abbott has not had an out today by anything other than ground ball.
That's all right with him. 2 down, bases empty, and the leadoff batter Ricky Henderson, who was on the front end of a double play after he drew the walk in the 1st. Henderson with 65 walks, now 5th in the league in that department. Just another category he's in. There you see the ground ball working. It's almost a 2-to-1 ratio for Abbott, ground balls to fly balls. That's a high ratio, very high. 1 ball, 1 strike.
In fact, it's one of the highest. He's up there with Kevin Brown, the Ranger pitcher, who's got a similar type of ratio, in fact even a little bit higher. Tell you what, if you keep the ball in the yard and don't walk people, you got a chance to win a lot of baseball games.
Here's the 1-1, and Henderson takes the curve for the strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 2 down. Angels leading at 1-0. MVP. He sure got the numbers.
It's the slugging percentage that dazzles a lot of people.
And he doesn't lose any of the on-base percentage for it. Leads in that department, even though he hits the long ball. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Mentioned earlier, the Oakland A's 11th in average, but 4th in runs. That's called production. One of the reasons for that is the fact that Tony La Russa's ball club has such a high slugging average. You score an extra base hits. Henderson stays off it. 3-2.
Well, Gary, we saw the #1 hitting team Wednesday night, Boston, and Joe Morgan was really, I don't want to say complaining, but he was mystified that his club doesn't score more because it hits so well. They're just the opposite, though, of Oakland. Oakland can hit it out of the park, and they can steal runs.
Boston just moves them around station by station. High fly ball, very playable. Bichette. It's a rainmaker right there. And that'll do it. No runs despite a leadoff single. Another double play. Plays into it. Great to have you with us here at the Big A. Gary Thorne and Norm Hitzges. And always good to see the A's here. And the question really, Norm, now is, are they going to be able to run away with this thing?
Boy, it's tough to imagine Oakland backing up. They've got tremendous pitching, a tremendous bullpen, a wonderful everyday lineup, and they're healthy. The White Sox have been gallant, Gary, but it's just hard to imagine this club being caught, isn't it?
We'll see. Scott Sanderson ready to go and delivers the pitch up high. Dick Schofield, the #9 hitter, leading it off.
Let me bounce it back to you. Gary, if you're in the other dugout, where's the weakness? What are you working on?
You're not. You got to play. The A's just make you play fundamentally solid baseball. You have to work for 1 run at a time, and you can't commit errors and give up on earned runs. You just play sound baseball if you're going to beat the A's.
Yeah, unless misfortune happens to the A's and several people get hurt.
And that's always the kicker in any season. That one fouled off. 2 balls, 1 strike. Football, yes, it's back. The American Bowl, the Broncos of the Seahawks from Tokyo. You will see it live tomorrow at 10 p.m. right here on ESPN. NFL overseas. Overhand fastball. Bichette down the right field line at a curve foul.
This has been a nightmare for Dick Schofield. He's barely hitting his weight. He started the year hurt. He went 135 at bats with 1 RBI, and that came on a solo homer. He's now got a heavier bat. He's choking up. He's trying to hit the ball to the right side. He's trying to change his approach to hitting.
2-2 by Sanderson, and he stepped on that one into the corner. Schofield will make the turn for 2, and it gets around Blankenship. He's on his way to third. Throw coming into Gallego. No relay play. It'll be a double and an error on Lance Blankenship, and Schofield's on at third base. We told you Lance Blankenship is really an infielder. He was supposed to be the starting second baseman, and that time made the mistake as the ball got around him.
You know, the strange thing is you'd expect Lance Blankenship to have trouble with fly balls as an infielder. You certainly wouldn't expect the trouble to come on a ground ball, but understand how little he's played out there. And in a foreign yard, reading the angles is tough to do for a guy who hasn't played out there much.
Schofield delivers the double. The A's are third in the league in defense, only their 60th error on the season. And now Downing with the RBI chance. Angels are leading 1-0. That is their second hit. And Sanderson delivered that slow off-speed curve to Schofield, who was looking for it and waited on it. Schofield's highest average, 200. He's getting close to being there now as he adds that double.
Oakland's decided to play the infield back and give up the run here.
Faith in your offense comes with the overhand fastball. You notice that Sanderson will vary the method of delivery. You see the setup with the infield back. Sometimes he'll give you the 3/4 normal, especially in the breaking ball. Then other times he'll give you that straight overhand fastball. There's that curve which he delivers 3/4, and it misses inside. 2 balls and 1 strike. See, Downing has been delivering the RBIs. And he is 7 for 23 against Oakland this season. Another one misses inside. 3-1.
You know, it's normal for a pitcher as the game wears on to lose a little bit of his velocity. But it appears Sanderson's slow curve is getting slower, which I didn't think was possible after last inning.
And he steps off. 3-1 count. Much slower. He's going to have to walk it up there. That'll get a run in. Dave Henderson in center field makes the catch. Tag up made. There'll be no play at the plate. Schofield crosses, and for the moment the error is costly. And it is a 2-0 Angels lead. Brian Downing credited with yet another RBI, so he continues his production. That'll be number 29 batted in for Downing.
Downing didn't understand what was happening to him early in the year. They were trying everybody else but Brian Downing, and he'd been such a good player for so long. He just didn't understand why he was sitting the bench and everybody else was getting a chance to play. Since he's had a chance, the averages come up, the production's there again.
Yep. So the bases are empty now with 2 away and 1 away rather. It brings up Donnie Hill. Grounded out his first time up. Hill is a switch hitter. 211 right-handed and 280 left-handed, so this has been his better side. Puts the pitch down low. Hill has bounced around major league level.
Gary, Donnie Hill has had a lot of eye problems in his career. In fact, his career nearly ended by viral eye infections.
Scary stuff.
Yeah.
1-2. With the White Sox and the A's. Now the Angels.
You know what saved his career and has brought him back? Disposable contacts, the ones you can wear for a few days and throw away. Because they tried the regular contacts and the infection should be coming back in his eyes.
And nobody on, so nothing lost on that one. Sanderson just buried that inside. 2-2.
You know, you asked California who their best infielder has been this season. This may be this guy. He's played everywhere. He even pitched.
Pretty good numbers against his old team. He's not even on the roster, 40-man roster. He's an add-on. Left field. Blankenship. And there are 2 down. That'll bring up Devon White. First, though, we're going to check in Charlie Steiner. How's it going back there?
Not bad, Gary. It's the bottom half of the 7th inning in St. Louis, and Willie McGee would double home. Vince Coleman and Ozzie Smith. Bob Ojeda on in relief. Couldn't put out the fire. David Cohn loses an opportunity for a win, and the Cardinals now lead 4-2.
They're looking for their second win for their new skipper. Joe Torre used to be right to the left of us when we came here, the former broadcaster for the Oakland A's. Now, of course, the manager of the St. Louis Cardinals. 2-0 lead, 2 down, nobody on, and Devon White, who struck out his first time up, sees another off-speed curveball. 0-1. Back from AAA. He's going to see a lot of those, I guess.
What a shock it was when Devon White was sent down, but the Angels had simply grown tired of him waving at high fastballs and curveballs in the dirt. They wonder just what kind of a shock value a trip to Edmonton would have.
This is a former All-Star.
Yeah.
The next year gets sent down to AAA.
Well, you know, when you're having a bad season like the Angels, you can use that to shock people. You can use it as a laboratory experiment, basically, for a player.
Switch hitter swings and misses on the fastball. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Oh, Gary, this guy's tools are just too good to have the bad numbers he has.
Came back from Edmonton, AAA, on July 27, and he's gone 9 for 28 since then, so pretty good job at the plate. 2-2. Sanderson, even though he knew it was coming, he couldn't do anything with that slow curve. That takes him out of there. White retired, but a run in, and it's an unearned run. It's in getting the leadoff man out. He does not let the leadoff man on base. He's the best at doing that in baseball. Now, how many people would know who Greg Hibbert is? It's one of the reasons the White Sox are winning.
Tell you who would know, one of them, people that run the Kansas City franchise that gave up both Melito Perez and Greg Hibbert to the White Sox for Floyd Bannister, who's now left Japan.
Nowhere else to go. Carney Lansford leads it off against Abbott. Right back to him. Jimmy's got it. Makes the play to first base, and Lansford's retired. He's 0 for 2 and a couple of ground ball outs. Why, where we saw Oakland playing the infield back when they might have gone to the plate, here's one of the reasons why. These are the top 3 teams in baseball in scoring runs. The greatest difference between what they score and what they give up.
You know what's amazing, Gary? Look at the athletic total of 369. They've allowed less runs than the Reds or the Mets. And there's a designated hitter in the American League. The pitchers hit over in the National League. What an incredible statistic for the Oakland staff.
Makes him feel mighty good, doesn't it?
Wow.
Jose Canseco went after the first pitch and grounded out first time up, and Abbott gets him inside. Against left-handers, Canseco's batting .311 this season, and he has had 11 of his 34 home runs off southpaws, and again in a situation where he'll just try and drive the baseball with nobody on and 1 out. Abbott stays away from him. 2 balls and no strikes. Canseco has been just a total wrecking ball here against this ball club. Batting .571 against California with 6 home runs. That's why the crowd applauds anytime he swings and doesn't hit it. 2-1.
You can get it by him up there. If you make a mistake and get that ball down about a half a foot, you give somebody $10 and tell them to go find it.
Breaking ball. Just outside with it. 3 balls and 1 strike.
This guy burst on the scene immediately. In his 19th day in the big leagues, he hit the roof in Comiskey Park. That happens about once every other year in that park's history.
3-1 to him, and a towering fly ball to shallow center field. Devon White moving in, takes a long look at the stars, finds the baseball, and there are 2 down here in the 4th inning. Canseco goes 0 for 2.
Gary, a question for you about Canseco. You know Canseco, you talked to him before the game. We've both been around him now for a couple of years. I get a feeling he gets misunderstood sometimes because he says some things tongue-in-cheek that get printed as though they're reality.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say, especially about his brother. The last story, his brother going down, he says if he goes, I go. And it gets printed that way, and people read it and say, you got to be kidding. Well, he was laughing when he said that. It was meant as a joke for his brother. And they are very close, and he was just putting a little rub in. But if you read it in the paper, you suddenly think Jose Canseco's out of his mind. Dave Henderson, 17 home runs on the season. He grounded out his first time up as the ground balls keep coming. Foul back. 1 ball and 1 strike. 2 down, nobody on. A 2-0 California Angel lead. Talk about guys who put numbers up against people and teams. There are some against Abbott. One. Henderson against the lefties this season, batting .355, including 6 doubles and 9 home runs off southpaws. Enormous numbers against left-handers. Right up the middle for the base hit. Well, Dave Henderson delivers a 2-out single in the 4th inning. Oakland now with a double and 2 singles off Abbott.
You know, we were talking about the Oakland weak spots. Walt Weiss is their regular shortstop. When they put their regular lineup out there of Canseco and the 2 Hendersons, Lansford, Weiss, Randolph, and McGuire, Steinbach. Weiss is the only player who's never made the All-Star team. Stewart, Welch, and Moore, All-Stars. Eckersley, an All-Star. There's not a lot of weak points on this club.
Well, they're world champions, huh? 2 down, and Steinbach fouls it off. He delivered a double. His first time up, pushing the average to 243 on the season. How about Hasse last night? Hasse played last night, started because Welch does. He always catches Welch. Hasse last night went 2 for 5 with a home run and is upped his average against the Angels to 474 lifetime, and he's sitting on the bench in tonight's game with Steinbach starting, because Steinbach has gone 4 for 6 now against Abbott. But that's the kind of stuff you got sitting around on the bench for the Oakland A's.
Weiss is sitting there tonight. Felix Jose is sitting there tonight. I mean, Todd Burns, how many teams in the major leagues would Todd Burns not be a regular rotation pitcher for? Here, Todd Burns is like Claude Rains. We got to see him about as often, too.
0-1, waited on it, drives at the right center field. Devon White has room for the third out. On the warning track, about 370, but Steinbach's out of there and a runner left on. Tony La Russa's had to make a change. Jose Canseco is out of the ball game, and Felix Jose is on in right field. Jose Canseco is suffering from a stomach virus. There you see after the last at bat, you can see he's a little pale, not feeling all that well, and he is out of there. The salsa must have been bad, so we will not get to see any more of Jose Canseco as he goes back to the clubhouse. Felix Jose, straight up change, will be batting in Canseco's spot. Dave Winfield will lead it off. California leading it here 2-0. Bottom half of the fourth inning. He picked up RBIs. Bichette on a ground ball out. Downing on a sacrifice fly. Winfield scored in the second when he was hit by a pitch to lead it off. Sanderson, the breaking ball to him, is in. Winfield actually moved away.
Winfield, over the last couple of weeks, as you can imagine, has been besieged by media types wondering his reaction to the Steinbrenner suspension.
He'll be besieged for a long time to come if that's the issue, because that's far from over.
Dave's attempted to take the high road, but you do notice him biting his lip and tongue as he keeps himself from saying certain things.
1 ball, 1 strike. Sanderson, fastball. They weren't playing him towards the middle, and that's a base hit. That's where they weren't. Dave Winfield is on. He's had 9 hits now in his last 18 at-bats. And Winfield again leads an inning off with a single here in the fourth inning. That'll be hit number 3 for the Angels.
Not hard hit, but hit in no man's land.
Gallego was way over towards third base, the shortstop, leaving that middle wide open for him. So Sanderson again will work with the leadoff man on. Now in 3 out of the 4 innings, the Angels have had the leadoff man on base, hit by a pitch, a double, and now a single. That's the way you score runs. And Lee Stevens had a single his first time up, batting at .242, couple of home runs for him. No play for Lansford or Steinbach. Strike 1.
Stevens was a former first-round pick in the June '86 draft. He did not show much power early, but really has come on lately in the minor leagues to show some definite power potential.
23 home runs in '88 at Midland, and then up to AAA ball at Edmonton, and picked up 14 last year. Not a bad output as far as home runs are concerned, and a couple here, major league level. Infield playing for 2. Sanderson misses away, 1 ball and 1 strike.
One of the problems for the second baseman here, Willie Randolph, is he'd like to cheat the second base a little bit, but with Sanderson throwing a lot of slow curves, it gives Stevens the ability to pull the ball into the hole between first and second.
And there's a base hit to the left of Randolph. Winfield makes the turn. He'll go to third. Jose does not make the throw, and they're doing the same thing that they did in that second inning. Winfield gets on again, and Stevens delivers again, and there are runners at first and third, and Stevens is 2 for 2. And Sanderson has got to work with runners at the corners.
Exactly the situation. Left-hand hitter. Sanderson with not enough stuff to really get the ball by him, and Stevens just shoots that same hole he shot the first time up.
So Parrish, just as was true in the second inning, comes up with runners at the corners and nobody out. He struck out in the second. Never has had a hit against Sanderson. 0 for 8. So curveball is in. Parrish has delivered this season 50 RBIs to lead the California Angels, and runs batted in. McGuire holding the bag at first on Stevens, with Winfield at third. One ball, one strike. Two categories that he leads the ball club in.
50 is awfully low for an RBI leader for a team, though.
Sure is.
Underscores what difficulty this club has scoring runs.
Fouls it back. 50 is the total that Parrish had last season in runs batted in. And as he's hitting almost 300 now, 289, he batted just 238 last year. So Doug Rader has seen his backstop really come through offensively. I want to remind you, here on ESPN, it's a Hall of Fame weekend. The Pro Football Hall of Fame induction ceremonies from Canton, Ohio. You'll see that tomorrow at 6, and also on ESPN, two of our good friends. The Baseball Hall of Fame induction ceremonies, Jim Palmer and Joe Morgan, will be inducted. Cooperstown, New York. You'll see that Sunday at 5:30 here on ESPN. So that's our induction ceremony special shows this Hall of Fame weekend.
Good weekend to have fun for Joe and Jim. Weekend they richly deserve.
They will. Parrish the 1-2. Breaking ball again misses. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
To show you how consistent Scott Sanderson has been this year, this is start number 23 for him, and never has he left before the 6th inning.
Gets you right to the pin. 4 hits off him so far. 2-2. Got him. That's a great pitch. Parrish is going to object to it. But there's nothing he's going to do about that pitch without a paddle. That is right down in the strike zone on the inside part of the plate, and he has been struck out twice.
Well, you throw that balloon up there, balloon, 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 and all of a sudden, this 86-mile-an-hour fastball looks like Walter Johnson threw it. Shwoom, suddenly it's on top of you. You know, you don't have to have great stuff to win necessarily in the big leagues, but it helps to know how to pitch. And Sanderson knows how to pitch.
First and third, and 1 away now. Dante Bichette had an RBI in this situation in the second with a ground ball. Takes the pitch inside. Sanderson is not a strikeout pitcher. 82 strikeouts coming into the game, 38 walks. He has added 3 to the strikeout total. Winfield, the lead runner at third base, and Stevens at first. 2-0, California leading. One and 1.
Gary, if somehow this result should stand up and Chicago would knock another game off the Oakland lead, my goodness, what races we're getting into. Pittsburgh draws even tonight. The Giants are getting shillelied, so they won't gain on the Reds. Boston and Toronto, and now Baltimore closes in a little more over there. What great races we're going to have this year.
That's what we want to hear. The step off by Sanderson. I did not know until tonight that Tony La Russa calls all throws to first base, all pitch outs, and all step offs. 1-1. That hit the bat. Foul ball. La Russa does that in an attempt to gain some kind of an advantage over base runners and hitters to pick up things. He will signal his catcher. You see Steinbach's looking over at him right now, and La Russa, if he wants something, will signal it. If he wants to throw to first, if he wants the pitcher to step off, if he wants a pitch out, he gives the sign all the time. Steinbach looked over and got nothing this time, and it's 1-2 unless doing nothing is a sign. 1 out. Breaking ball, base hit. Bichette gets the single. Scoring is Winfield, and it is a 3-0 California lead. Dante Bichette gets his second RBI of the ballgame.
This pitch must be one Steinbach call.
He doesn't call the pitches.
Bichette just waits and waits and waits and has his second RBI of the game. And Oakland is getting dangerous in a dangerous area of losing touch with Jim Abbott, who's pitching very well.
Dante Bichette at first base now, down to second Stevens, and that one's tagged by Johnny Ray. Making the turn is Stevens. Jose will hit the cutoff man and hold the runner at third. They're doing it single by single for this inning. And now they've loaded the bases here in the fourth with only one out, as Johnny Ray picks up the base hit, and LaRusse is walking the dugout.
One of the commandments of a pitcher who uses the slow pitch is to make sure the ball is down. And the last couple have been up. A slow curve that's up is right in the hitter's wheelhouse. It breaks where he can see it. And the hitter will hit the slow curve up much better than hit the slow curve down.
Harris getting up in the bullpen for the A's. The A's now will play for two, but they'll play McGuire in at first base on Dick Schofield. McGuire will go to the plate if it's grounded to first base. Schofield doubled in the third. Sanderson needs the ground ball double play, foul back. Only one out, 3-0 Angel lead.
One of the problems with the defense, and let's face it, in every defense you give up something, is that Ray, the runner at first, can get a huge lead. Thus, any ground ball to third or short or second, Ray is going to be right on top of the guy trying to turn two and has a chance to barrel roll the pivot man.
One strike count. Breaking ball. Schofield takes it inside. One ball, one strike. Sanderson really needing that ground ball for the double play right here to get him out of this inning, and for the Angels a chance to put up some big numbers early on, and for Schofield a chance to get over the 200 mark, hitting 199.
Schofield in runners in scoring position situations this year, 3 for 17. Listen to these three figures. The three guys that played shortstop this year: D. Sarcina 0 for 9, Kent Anderson 3 for 24, and Schofield 3 for 17. Angel shortstops 6 for 50 with runners in scoring position.
Schofield turns, and it's inside. 2 balls and 1 strike.
And Gare, the numbers aren't any better at third base, where Shue and Howell have had a great deal of problem delivering runs. Howell with so much of a problem, he's been sent to Edmonton.
That's why they've struggled. Now Sanderson being talked to by Steinbach. Bullpen is active. Steinbach maybe giving him a little more time to get ready. Leadoff man Downing is on deck. Sanderson with just as soon not face him.
Remember now, Sanderson's never failed to go 5 full innings in a game this year.
Two-1 the count. Evens it up. High heat that time, and Schofield wanted that pitch. He was jumping all over it. Fouled it back. 2 balls and 2 strikes. That one looks like a melon coming up there. That's also the pitch that tends to be up by your eyes. The only way you can hit it is to tomahawk it, and that's not easy to do.
Again, though, not good location for Sanderson.
Here's the 2-2. There's a base hit into right field. Scoring is Stevens. Bichette will stay, and they continue to do it one station at a time. Schofield 2 for 2. Picks up the RBI for Schofield. Few and far between, just his 5th of the year, and it's 4-0 Angels.
About 4 times this inning we've spoken of location, and take a look where this pitch is. Oh, baby. Right up at the letters, and Schofield gets a great look at it. Doesn't have to adjust the arms at all, just rip right through the ball.
Yet another single. 5 singles here in the 4th inning for the Angels off Sanderson, who has given up 7 hits. And here comes Tony La Russa. Sanderson's not used to being visited so early, and the Angels aren't used to having a lead so early, and that's going to be it. So Sanderson is gone with the leadoff batter Downing coming up. 21-year-old Reggie Harris we've seen before, Norm, and we were impressed. He'll have to be impressive here with the bases loaded.
In the estimation of many scouts in baseball, this is a major Boston Red Sox mistake. He was a first-round draft choice 3 years ago, turned down a basketball scholarship to be a gobbler at Virginia Tech to pitch baseball. Spent 3 years in the Red Sox system, and in those 3 years, they were all losing years. But last year in the second half at Winter Haven, started to show the flash that made him such a prospect coming out of high school. But the Red Sox didn't protect Reggie Harris. Oakland gobbled him up in the minor league draft. The rules are they had to keep him on the roster all year. Well, they've basically hidden this kid most of the season on their totally legally, feeling that they'll keep him here this year, send him back to the minors next year, and maybe by 92 or so he'll be ready.
There you see the base runners, Bichette, Ray, and Schofield. And Brian Downing, the leadoff batter, sacrifice fly RBI his last time up, has the bases loaded and 1 out. 4-0 Angels lead. And it's inside for a ball. And Harris has little room to work with right here. And Downing with the opportunity to do some real damage. 1-0. Right field, Jose. It's not deep. Tagging up at third is Bichette. Felix Jose makes the catch. Bichette will fake the go. Good throw to the cutoff man, and a big out for Harris. Oh, Downing flies out, and now there are 2 down here in the 4th inning.
Rats up rats.
Downing not happy. He did not get at least 1 run in. Now the infield can back it up. And Donnie Hill batting .257. Try and keep the inning going here with 2 outs. Sanderson working only 3 1/3 innings. Gave up 7 hits, walked none, struck out 3, responsible for the base runners. Harris is going to look like he's throwing about 900 miles an hour after Scott Sanderson's off-speed curveball, and Harris throws that hard heater. Caught up with himself in a hurry in RBIs, didn't he? 0-1. Yes, right field. It's going to be playable. And Harris looks and waits for Jose to make the catch, and that'll do it. So there were 5 singles and 2 runs, and the Angels. Martinez with a great season. Cy Young Award winner, maybe right there. Kevin Mitchell is tied Darryl Strawberry now for the home run lead in the National League. Folks on hand here at the Big A, and happy to have you with us. I want to remind you, baseball tonight, every night, right here on ESPN. All the scores and highlights, interviews, team features, and of course our experts, the analysis. You'll see it every night right here on ESPN on Baseball Tonight. Mark McGwire will lead it off in this 4-0 game. Oakland has picked up 3 hits in the ball game. They've stranded only a couple and only 1 in scoring position. That was in the 2nd inning. A couple singles and 1 double. Stand by count the double. Jim Abbott getting his ground ball outs and performing well. McGwire, strike 1.
Well, Gary McGwire has terrific credentials power-wise, but he lives in the shadow of Jose Canseco. I wonder how many people in baseball know that McGwire's hit more homers than either Strawberry or Mitchell this season.
Doesn't get written about very much.
No, it doesn't.
What you keep looking at is that .215 batting average that he has, and he's batting only .206 off left-handers. That's really hard to understand from McGwire. And he pops that one up. Second base, Johnny Ray.
Well, there's a pitch he should have killed.
McGuire's now 1 for his last 21.
It's kind of weird stance. He's got remnants of the old Dwight Evans pigeon-toed stance here. Now watch where this ball is. Oh, Gary. Oh, when he's swinging well, Gary, the folks that paid $3 to get in are scrambling for that one.
You saw, though, he had already opened up the swing. He had the whole body out there before he started swinging. Here's Lance Blankenship. So the mechanics for Mark McGuire are off a little bit right now. Instead of driving it, you pop it up.
Yeah, very good point.
Blankenship grounded out his first time up. Abbott gets the strike. Jim Abbott's keeping people off base here. And the leadoff man on a couple of times when he's gotten them out with double plays. Big A in Anaheim on this beautiful baseball night. And for the Angel fans, really beautiful as they lead Oakland 4-0. 1-1 to right field. Dave Winfield. And that'll take care of Blankenship, and there are 2 down here in the 5th inning. Charlie Steiner in our Baseball Tonight studios. Charlie.
Gary, the Mets were down 4-2 in the top of the 9th against Lee Smith and the Cardinals, but a bloop single by Magadan tied the score, and this bloop single by Greg Jeffries gave the Mets the lead. 5-4. Tom O'Malley scores. Cardinals coming to bat in the bottom half of the 9th. Let's go back to Anaheim and Gary.
Well, the Mets starting to put those numbers up. They're climbing towards the top in both hitting and pitching again, along with the home runs. 2 down, bases empty, and a lugout. Line drive right over the dugout. Willie Randolph, fan hauled it in. He was coming down the aisle as it ricocheted off some hands. Randolph looking over to make sure everybody's all right.
Oakland finds themselves in a very unusual place, trailing after 4 innings. One of Oakland's big pluses is they jump all over you early. In the first 4 innings this year, they've outscored the opposition by 70 runs in the first 4 innings. When you got that kind of a bullpen, that's a great stat.
Randolph takes the strike 0-2, and remember, the Angels have beaten them only once, and have lost to them 6 times this season. 0-2, 2 down. Randolph waiting. Slow curve out of the reach of Schofield, and Willie Randolph's 2 for 2. Just laid back and waited, and the second single for Randolph.
The shortstop.
Things with 2 down here in the 5th inning. I'm going to send along our best wishes after we take a look at this one. See, he had to wait on that right off the end of the bat. To Bert Blyleven and his family. Blyleven not here tonight, is going to miss the next start for the Angels. His family involved in an auto accident. His wife Patty and 3 children, Kimberly, Timothy, and Thomas. 3 of the 4 kids were in the car at the time. They are in the hospital, stable, no serious injuries. Thank God for that. And Blyleven there, of course, with the family. Gallego, and he's got a broken bat single. Randolph's going to try for third, and he'll get it as Bichette bobbled the ball. White backs it up, throw to second, and he is out at second base. That is not a good move by Mike Gallego. His club down 4-0, and they end the inning trying to get an extra base. Credit Devon White with a backup play after Bichette had bobbled it.
By Domino's Pizza. Call Domino's and catch all the action. It's time for Domino's Pizza.
Devon White leading it off in this 4-0 ball game after making that nice play in center field. Devon White, Gold Glove winner, and one of the reasons the way he heads up the play on Bichette after it got by him, throwing out Gallego, and the tag put on by Johnny Ray. And an opportunity would have been kept the inning going. Gallego had not been thrown out. Take a look. This is how the inning ended. Does Bichette let that go on purpose? Our director thinks with the look on his face he may have, trying to deke out Gallego. Johnny Ray at second.
I mean, nothing against Dante Bichette, but I don't think he and Devon White thought that quickly.
I don't either.
Why don't we both mess this up so Gallego will try for second?
Here's the 2-1. And White swinging through it as Harris comes in with heat. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He's on for Scott Sanderson, who gave up 7 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned, and 3 1/3 innings. Now Reggie Harris try and hold California to 4 and give the A's a chance to get back in it as we're in the bottom of the 5th. And he gets it. Harris gets the strikeout. And there's one away.
Dave Winfield. Right there.
Terrific pitch by Reggie Harris. Outside corner knees, good movement, good speed. I see Reggie Harris the second time I've seen him, and I can't believe he's only 21 years old. He looks older than him.
Dave Winfield. Harris now has struck out 12 in 13 innings, but Dave Winfield finds one. He's watching way back left field, looking up. Goodbye, home run, Winfield. 5-0 Angels. That's the third time Dave Winfield has scored in tonight's game, and that one comes on one he loved to watch.
Again, a pitch way up in the strike zone, not way up, but around the belt in the strike zone, and Winfield just tattoos it. Watch the fans attempt. Oh, we're not going to see. We're going to see Winfield. Fan made a marvelous attempt to make a running catch in the empty seats out there.
14 home runs for Dave Winfield. Yes, you do smile when you get those. And the pitch misses to Lee Stevens. And for Harris, that fastball, when you throw it against a guy like Winfield and they're looking for it, look out. Harris giving up the long ball for the second time this season. 5-0, 8 hits for the Angels. Stevens is having a good night, fouls it back with his 2 for 2 and a run scored. And with that home run by Dave Winfield, he now passes Gil Hodges on the all-time home run list. It'll be his career 371st home run. He is now 31st on the all-time home run list. He had been tied with Hodges. No slouch there. 2-1. Oh my gosh, deep right field, way back in the bullpen. Goodbye, home run, back-to-back homers. Lee Stevens is 3 for 3, and that's his third home run of the year.
Boy, Stevens gets a terrific pitch for a left-hand pull hitter. Oh, right there. I mean, if you pick the donut of the plate, I mean the exact hole of the donut, the heart of the plate, that's where Reggie Harris threw the ball.
California Angels have taken a 6-0 lead over the Oakland A's. They did it with singles through 4. They're doing it with home runs in the 5th. And a breaking ball to Parrish, who has struck out twice. California Angels have not had these kind of nights. And there's Lee Stevens. Oh, 1. Parrish, another breaking ball, and missed it. 0-2. That's all he's seen tonight from both Sanderson and Harris. He hasn't been able to do anything with it as of yet.
Parrish is one of those all-American boy stories. Was a terrific quarterback in high school, an outstanding baseball player, hotly recruited both sports. He married Arlene Nolan. She was Miss Diamond Bar, Miss Hollywood, Miss Southern California.
And there's Mr. Strikeout. That's 3 times that Parrish has been struck out. Twice swinging. Second strikeout for Harris, and there are 2 down. He can strike the side out if he can get Bichette.
Well, it's a toss-up now whether Bichette hits a homer or strikes out this inning.
That's all it's been, all or nothing. Dante Bichette with a couple of RBIs, picked up his single in the 4th inning. 47 RBIs to go along with the 239 average. Harris outside for a ball. So Harris treated rudely in relief here by the California Angels in the 5th inning. Breaking ball, 1 ball, 1 strike.
It is not unusual for the Angels to out-homer their opponent. Angels are 4th in the league in home runs, and their pitchers don't give up many. They've hit 35 more homers than the opposition, and they've scored 40 less runs.
Which means there are a lot of solo home runs.
Yeah, and it also means they don't create many runs, do they, with this offense?
Nope. Probably done that better here tonight than they have many times this season by picking up 9 hits in the game and those singles.
Yeah. When they sent Devon White to the minor leagues, he represented their speed. It left Louis Polonia with 3 stolen bases as their speed.
Swung on a miss. He does strike the side out, but a couple of home runs, Winfield and Stevens, and the Angels have extended their lead 6-0. Activities in business. Standard Oil Company was one of those companies that he went after. Their tentacles reached out everywhere, and on this date in 1907 they were indicted for taking illegal rebates in violation of the Elkins law. The judge who heard the case, federal district court judge in Chicago, was none other than Kennesaw Mountain Landis, who would become baseball's first commissioner, called Czars back then when he took over in 1920. He fined Standard Oil $29.4 million in 1907. You think he wasn't a hanging judge? And he did the same thing when he took over as czar of baseball. He was tough.
For receiving rebates. Now
Yep.
all the car companies advertise.
Yeah, that's right. Ricky Henderson. And of course, comes into play now because of the George Steinbrenner situation. All the powers of the commissioner, which are somewhat in question, were largely created by what Kennesaw Mountain Landis did as the first commissioner, who assumed he had the authority. Henderson on the 0-1 from Abbott, and that's taken down low. Ball and a strike.
He's also believed to be the first person in baseball ever referred to as a tough cookie, because he was one.
What was that? I didn't know he handled that case. Also saw that he was a judge involved in the Federal League dispute back then. Swung on and missed, which is how he made his baseball connection. And when the owners went looking for somebody in the law who had some baseball experience, Landis was the one.
You know, Commissioner Vincent took over under such sad circumstances with the death of Bart Giamatti, but he certainly established this as his commissionership over the last few weeks.
He wishes it could have been done some other way.
Yeah, but you put your stamp on the game whatever way you're asked to.
1-2 to Henderson. Swung on and missed. Good fastball by Abbott. First strikeout. And Henderson's 0 for 2 and a walk now.
Abbott just roars one down Main Street, and Henderson's behind it.
And we want to thank our Vista Library, San Diego County, California, helping us out on our Wayback Machine. Jay Cutlow and Zach, our producer and assistant producer at home. Zach's not old enough yet to be a full-fledged producer. He's not a year old. Taken inside for a ball. 1 down. Carney Lansford up. "1-0 by Abbott. Off the fist to short. That was trouble from the word go. Schofield is playing that side saddle, and he couldn't hang on to it. And it bounced off the glove. He just couldn't get over in front of it, or didn't, whichever. And there's the first error on the Angels.
The Angels this year have had a lot of fielding problems. They haven't been quite as bad lately. They got off to a horrendous start in the field, but they've still allowed 61 unearned runs. Only Milwaukee, which is beyond hideous, has allowed more unearned runs in the American League.
92nd error. Only Milwaukee has committed more errors now. Felix Jose, this will be his first at bat. He came on for Jose Canseco, had to leave with a stomach virus. Canseco had gone 0 for 2. Felix Jose takes it up high for a ball.
You know, you've got to believe that contributing to both Milwaukee's poor defensive play and California's poor defensive play is nobody's ever in the same spot. These lineups have changed over and over and over because of injury.
Jose fouls off the Abbott delivery. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Only 5 hits for the A's. Still looking for their first run. Down 6-0. We are in top half of the 6th inning. Talking about their bench strength. Now we get a look at Tony La Russa's part of Tony La Russa's bench tonight in Felix Jose. And he launches one to center field. Devon White going back near the warning track with room, hauls it in. 400-foot fly ball right there. Felix Jose flies out to center, 2 down. Lansford will go back to first base. And it'll bring up Dave Henderson with 2 down.
Tony La Russa's taken almost for granted now in the American League as a wonderful manager, but you know, you forget the state this club was in when he took it over. In the 4.5 years before La Russa got here, this club was 77 games under 500. In the 4 years since he's been here, there are 119 games over 500. It's a club that was averaging 19 games a year under 500, and under him is averaging 30 games a year over 500. It's a 49-game transition.
That's what it is. Henderson to right field towards the line. Could be the short post. Winfield looking. Goodbye. Home run. First row of seats. A 2-run homer for Dave Henderson. And it is a 6-2 Angel lead. Both these runs are unearned.
Was that graphic our crew put up just earlier in the game? Henderson has now had 5 hits off Abbott, and 3 of them are home runs.
That's what he's doing. 18 on the season now for Dave Henderson, and he's up to 50 RBIs.
Barely sneaks it into that short area down there.
Winfield had been able to get over there. He could have easily caught the ball because only in the first row, but it's a long run to get over there by that foul post. And that's a 2-out homer here in the 6th inning.
As a comparison to these two teams, Henderson's 18th homer puts him 4th on Oakland. He would lead California. It gives him 50 RBIs. That would tie him for the lead on California. He is a distant 3rd on Oakland.
Jim Abbott doesn't want to see any more of Dave Henderson. 0-1 delivery with 2 down, and it's a strike on the inside corner. So the Oakland A's will try and make it interesting, using the long ball as usual to get on the board. A's now have 128 home runs on the season, second only to Toronto as far as the home runs are concerned.
You know, Gary, the hitter up for Oakland now, Steinbach, and the man behind the plate for California, Parrish, share a common background. Each started as third baseman in the minor leagues, and quite honestly, not very good third baseman defensively. They were converts.
Get you out of there. Up high, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
You know, Pat Borders, that really good young catcher in Toronto, also started as a third baseman. 3 of the best catchers in the American League all started their minor league careers as third basemen.
Correct the count, a ball and 2 strikes. Abbott deep towards the foul pole. Foul ball. All of a sudden they're getting the ball up in the air off the left-hander Jim Abbott, who have been getting ground balls. Our ESPN doubleheader coming up Tuesday. Montreal and Pittsburgh, huge series there. Boston and California, or you'll see regional coverage all starting at 7:30 right here on ESPN. Boston coming up for a West Coast trip. Steinbach with a 1-2 delivery. Goes the other way with it. Winfield's got plenty of room on this one. And puts it away. So Abbott gives up the first runs, but they are both unearned.
Doug Drabeck with 8 2/3 innings down. All he needed was still Campusano, but that is Campusano with the base hit cleanly. Pittsburgh won the game by a score of 11-0. Now let's go back to Anaheim and Gary Thorne.
Seems to be the year, doesn't it? That's going to be, along with the 7 no-hitters, the 5th time this season that a pitcher has been 3 outs or less from a no-hitter and lost it. There could easily have been 12 or 13 no-hitters this year. Johnny Ray, the hitter, swung on and missed against Harris. 6-2 lead for California, bottom half of the 6th. Ray with his 1 for 2, adding 259. That one bounced by Harris. Everybody's been involved. Even Downing, who hasn't had a hit, picked up the RBI on a sacrifice fly, and Hill's the only one without a hit or an RBI. Along with Mr. White, who struck out a couple of times. 2-2. Dave Henderson in center. Rays retired, 1 away.
We mentioned last inning about the Angels' fielding problems, and when the error was followed by the homer, it meant runs 62 and 63 unearned. Of course, Milwaukee is gone. Milwaukee could stop allowing unearned runs right now, and they'd wind up leading the American League. But that Angels total, Gary, projects to them allowing somewhere around 95 to 100 free runs in a season. Good grief.
Well, this cost you a lot of ball games. Outside for a ball. That's why you got to play some defense. Dick Schofield. 1-0 count on him. Schofield an RBI single in the 4th inning. And the breaking ball by Harris, 1-1. Since giving up the home runs to Winfield and Stevens back-to-back in the 5th, Harris has rediscovered that breaking ball. Got to throw something else besides that heat to major league hitters. Here's the 1-1. Steinbach blocking it. 2 balls, 1 strike.
As a contrast, just to give you some frame of reference, Oakland has allowed only 36 unearned runs this year, as opposed to 63 for California. And the leading fielding team in the league, Baltimore, has allowed only 30 unearned runs.
Hard to define how many ball games you've lost when you give up that many, but you know it's a lot. Down to third base, Carney Lansford the run, and he got him. That was close. Schofield thrown out by Carney Lansford, and Schofield's going to stop for a moment and chat at first with the umpire.
I'm just going to guess that he did not get him here. Oh my goodness.
Infield hit that wasn't.
You know, there's a temptation to call this a bang-bang play, but what it really was a bang-bang play. Look at McGuire. He knows he stole one.
2 down. Oh, Harris and the A's get a break on that one as Schofield's finally out of there. Makes it 2 for 3 instead of 3 for 3 on the night for him. Downing takes the pitch away. 2 balls and no strikes.
All the guys in the world who didn't need to lose a hit. Poor Dick Schofield, who struggled all year with injuries and slumps, hitting a .193 coming in. That's a guy who he doesn't want to lose those.
Harris with a 2-0 delivery, and Downing takes it down low. 3 balls and no strikes. Sanderson did not walk a batter, nor has Harris, but in danger here. 3-0. Scott Sanderson, pitcher of record, lasted only 3 1/3, 4 runs, 7 hits, and there's the first walk. So with 2 down, Downing's on. Hill's coming to the plate, and so is Charlie Steiner.
Third baseman.
Earlier in the evening, Kevin Mitchell hit his 26th home run of the year. That supplied a run. This fielding gem would cost the Giants a run. Buddy Harris scores on the error. Cal Daniels with the hit. Dodgers now lead 7-2.
Los Angeles Dodgers, they have been struggling. They've got a long road trip that they just started this week. San Francisco, of course, needing wins, trying to catch Cincinnati and making it very interesting. Hill, first ball hitting to left. Blankenship, and that will do it. So we have gone through 6-2 this season against this California Angels team only a couple weeks ago, and they lost that ball game as the A's came back to win it. So we'll see whether or not they can hang on here. Jim Abbott has been outstanding. He'll face Mark McGuire leading it off, followed by Blankenship and Randolph. McGuire hitting just .214. Abbott has walked 1 and struck out 1, and gets him to go strike 1. Jim Abbott this season has pitched 3 complete games, 1 shutout, and the 3 complete games have come in his last 5 starts. He lost his last complete game against Milwaukee 3-2. Had a complete game win against Toronto the game before that. Looks like he's good enough tonight, maybe, to flirt with another complete game. Up high, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Nobody's ever started a career power-wise like Mark McGwire. He's hit 117 homers in his first 3 years. That's #1 in the history of baseball. Kiner hit 114.
There's the shortest pitch you may ever see. That just barely made the dirt as Abbott bounced that one just inside the cut of the grass. Little smile there.
And then watch where it goes after it hits.
Off his wallet. 2 balls, 1 strike. They make This Week in Baseball, unfortunately, Jim. There's the 2-1.
You know, Gary, it strikes me back in the 1880s, home plate used to be 50 feet from the mound, and that ball still would have been in the dirt.
Almost as in the dirt in Little League. Here's the 3-1 by Abbott, and he walks McGwire. Abbott's been getting him up a little bit, giving up some fly balls, and now he gives up a leadoff walk here in the 7th inning. Kansas City and Baltimore coming up on Sunday night here on ESPN. Our Sunday night baseball game at 8 o'clock. Those two clubs not only played but brawled in the ball game tonight, so you'll have a chance to see them go at it again, and you'll have a chance to see Ben McDonald. He's scheduled to make the start for the Orioles, 8 o'clock on Sunday. 6-2 here. A's with a leadoff man on, and Kevin Blankenship up. And he lines it into left field. Blankenship gets his first hit. McGwire will stop, and Lance Blankenship puts the first 2 on in the 7th inning, and the Oakland A's threatening.
All of a sudden, almost without noticing the tying runs in the on-deck circle. Blankenship just waits, serves that ball out to left field.
And going to check now, and the bullpen will become active. Abbott has been under control throughout most of this, but he has started to go up the fly balls. That's a bad sign, and he's getting that ball up in the strike zone. Marshall Lashman, pitching coach, is out. Rene Lachman is the coach for the Oakland A's, and there's Willie Frazier up in the pen. 7 hits now for Oakland, with a single by Lance Blankenship. And now Abbott faces Randolph, who's already 2 for 2.
In the first 3 innings, 8 of the 9 outs were by ground balls. In the next 3 innings, only 1 of the 9 outs were by ground balls.
And there was a home run by Henderson in there too.
And a couple of other balls ridden out there pretty well.
Outside to Willie Randolph. Ball 1. Fans beginning to squirm a little uneasily here. Angel fans. 2 on. Nobody out. 2 double plays have already been turned behind Abbott tonight. And they'd like to get another one right here. Taking balls in, 1-1 on Randolph.
Well, the one thing Angel fans have not gotten to do with Jim Abbott is see him win very much. Since late July of last year, he's won in this park only 1 time. In more than a year, 1 win in this park. And Gary, this year alone, he's made 10 starts here, so it's not like he's missing this park somehow. He just doesn't tend to win here.
1-1 to Randolph. Hill. No, they do not get anything. And the bases are loaded. Donnie Hill at third. The high chopper had to wait for it to come down. He hesitated just a bit as he looked to see where McGwire was going by him to third.
Well, here's a mistake by Hill. He could have the runner. He could have had the lead runner. What he did was he made the mistake of still thinking he had some possibility for 2 there. He should have taken the 1 out. It should have been the sure one at third.
So the bases are loaded, and Gallego, who delivered a single his last time up, comes to the plate. That's a strike. Fielder's choice. Randolph at first base. And Gallego checking at third. Here's the opportunity for the Oakland A's. Get back into this ball game, trailing by a score of 6-2. There you see the base runners. 0-1. Gallego's going to have a base hit into center field. McGuire will score, making the turn and making it a 6-4 ball game is Lance Blankenship, and the A's are right back in it. Gallego, bases loaded, single and 2 RBIs.
There are a lot of ways defense can help you or hurt you that never shows up inside the box score. These runs are obviously going to be earned, but that fielding mistake by Hill contributes to the inning. It's not an error, but it contributes to the inning.
And that's going to be it for Abbott.
Oh, high in the strike zone. Big round breaker above the belt.
And Gallego just reaching for it. Got it out there. McGuire and Blankenship score. Abbott will be given the hand, but he is out of there, and they've gone to the pen. He still has a chance to pick up the win.
His way up through the system, primarily a starting pitcher until last year when he was used exclusively in relief, and relief again this year. Frazier brings into the mound a 2-2 record. This is appearance number 27. He does not have any saves, allows a little over a hit per inning. Historically, Willie Frazier has had trouble giving up the long ball.
This is not the team you want to be facing if you give up the long ball. So Doug Rader now squirming around. 8 hits picked up by Oakland in the game off Abbott, who ended up going 6 1/3 with 2 walks and a strikeout. There are 2 on, Randolph and Gallego, and Ricky Henderson is at the plate. Well, Frazier really has his work cut out for him here. On once with a walk. League's leading hitter. That's all. And Frazier gets a strike on the outside corner.
Willie Frazier 2 years ago gave up 33 homers as a starting pitcher. But when they shifted him into the bullpen, he relied more on just his 2 primary pitches, which is a fastball and a forkball. And his home runs came down dramatically.
Usually we get the ball down in the strike zone. He's given up 3 home runs this season in the innings pitched, 43. Anderson will step out 0-1. 6-4, California leading, but the lead had been 6-0. Just as it had been a couple of weeks ago when they led the A's and the A's came back to win. The 0-1. Anderson fouls it back, and Frazier goes ahead on the count. 0 balls, 2 strikes. Frazier's last outing was on the 1st of this month against Minnesota. He went an inning and a third, charged with no runs, a couple of hits.
Willie Frazier, the first pick in the June '85 draft out of Concordia College, tiny little college in New York.
Oh-2 count on Henderson. That's the pitch we were talking about earlier. Get him off the plate, lean him back a little bit when you're ahead on the count. That's all. Especially with Ricky, who tends to crowd the plate anyway. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Yeah, well, his nose is in the strike zone.
He really didn't want to swing at that, and will get away with it. He fouls it off. He almost didn't swing and then decided he wanted to protect the strike zone with it. Credit Mike Gallego on at first base with the 2 RBIs, the last 2. Gallego had been struggling along, 2 for 19. He needs Angel pitching. 364 against them this season. A lifetime 300 hitter against California. So when he's in a slump, please bring on the Angels. He's on with Randolph at second. 1-2 the count on Henderson. Frazier. Got him! Second time Henderson has struck out the last 2 at bats. K count goes up.
Not only is it a big out from the standpoint of there's the leading hitter in the American League with men at first and second and nobody out, but the men don't move. Henderson doesn't advance any runners either.
Only the 38th time that Ricky Henderson has struck out this season. 2 of them here tonight. And now 2 down, leaves it up to Carney Lansford. Or 1 away, rather, grounded to third. Oh, a bad hop on Hill. Making the turn to score is Willie Randolph. Over to third base goes Gallego. And they have the runner trapped. No, they throw the ball away into right field. That will score. Gallego down to second base goes Carney Lansford as the Angels throw it away. They had Lansford turned at first base big time. Might have got him in a rundown, but they threw the ball in front of him and away. And this game is tied. That's the story of Doug Rader's season right there.
Well, first the hop. A potential inning-ending double play ball bounces over Donnie Hill. The throw here goes to third. Hill boots it, but the runner's not going to go. The runner's not going here. The runner's headed back to first base at that point, and Hill still snaps the ball down there. He did not have to throw that ball at all.
It'll be a single for Carney Lansford, crediting with an RBI, and then an error on that throw that allows him to go to second base and allows Gallego to score. Second error committed by California. Now that's at least 3 unearned runs picked up by the A's. 0-1 delivery, waiting for the base hit. If it stays fair, he's got it. Did he know which way the infield was slanted? Felix Jose has a bunt single. Moving to third base, Carney Lansford. Still just 1 out.
Dave Henderson.
Perfectly positioned. What a great bunt.
Gary, if I gave you the ball at home plate and asked you to roll it down the third baseline, you couldn't do it better than this.
Obviously, the tilt is a little bit to the inside. It does not roll foul when it gets in the dirt here in Anaheim. First and third for Dave Henderson, and the Oakland A's have come back from a 6-0 deficit to tie the game. They now have 10 hits. First and third occupied, still 1 out. Strike 1 on Henderson, who had a home run, his 18th in the 6th inning, off Abbott.
What a strange rally. A walk, a single, a fielder's choice, a little single by Gallego, a strikeout, Lansford's bad hop and a bunt.
Whatever it takes to get it done. 0-1 by Fraser is up high. 1 ball, 1 strike. That's what you can do when you're a winner and you have confidence in yourself. You just keep playing because you believe you can win. And now Jim Abbott is non-decisioned here in this thing, and is charged with all 6 of the runs that have scored. There's that take the third, flip the first, nothing happens play. Felix Jose was walking back to the bag.
For those of you who've just tuned in and wonder where Jose Canseco is in the middle of this rally, he left sick early in the game. Felix Jose, who just bunted for the base hit, replaced him.
Not for the big lead. Jose at first base. Felix Jose does have outstanding speed. 7 stolen bases in 9 attempts this season. Dave Henderson with a 1-1 count. There's a broken bat base hit as he is going to give the A's the lead. And Doug Rader's going to be dying. He threw the bat at the ball. Dave Henderson gets his 3rd RBI of the game. He's now 3 for 4 in the ball game. It is 7-6 Oakland, and it is an ugly lead if you're in Doug Rader's uniform. It's beautiful if you're wearing the A's.
This bat winds up at the feet of Willie Frazier, who kicked it. Poor Willie deserves a better fate when you really look at his inning. Willie Frazier's not pitched all that badly, and the lead has just disappeared while he's been on the mound.
Dave Henderson has 51 RBIs in the season now, 3 here tonight. And here's Terry Steinbach, who will be the 9th Oakland A to come to the plate here in the 7th inning. Bad hops, thrown bats, errors, all adding up to a big inning for Oakland. First and second occupied. Trouble with the signs now, and Steinbach will have to wait. Next Friday, right here on ESPN, our West Coast game, the New York Yankees making the road trip to California will take on these Oakland A's. We'll have it for you as the second half of our doubleheader next week right here on ESPN. Yankees and A's. Now Rader just trying to keep his club up here. Devastating to have this happen to you twice in a couple of weeks against the same team. 6-0 lead disappear. Strike one on Terry Steinbach. There were 2 unearned runs scored on Abbott in the 6th inning. And an error contributing to this inning.
Yeah, the runs here probably will all wind up being earned because of all the base hits, but undoubtedly a poor decision by Hill and then a bad throw by Hill really contributed to the A's rally.
The 0-1 towards second, should be 2. Ray, Schofield, and they get the double play. Third one they have turned tonight, but not before the damage is done. 5 runs in the 7th inning for Oakland. Major league win. He has no record. Gene Nelson and Joe Klink will be ready if he needs help. So Harris's heart's got to be beating a little. Chance to get number 1. We're far from over now as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. And Devon White. Lansford is looking for the bunt. This one will go foul. Strike one on White.
White was sent down because the Angels just got so discouraged with his inability to discipline himself in the plate. He seemed to flail away at everything. His own teammates quoted as saying, "You don't have to throw this guy a strike, just throw the ball." And the Angels are a lot more happy with Devon since he's come back. They've noticed that he really is trying to do some things at the plate to discipline his game.
He knows his whole career is on the line. Popped him up. Lansford, Gallego trying to get there to help out. Lansford, nice play. Randy Lansford was still in looking for the bunt, so he really had a long way to go. Wanted to pull that one in. One away here in the 7th inning. We've had the home runs here at this ballpark, which, as we said, gives him up. Dave Winfield got his 14th in the 5th inning, and it came off Harris.
This seemed like an insurance run at the time, didn't it?
First of back-to-back home runs by Winfield and Stevens. And suddenly they need more. It's been a big night for Dave Winfield. He scored all 3 times. Hit by a pitch in the 2nd, the single, and the home run.
Suddenly this place starting to look like Candlestick, Gary. Fog's starting to move in.
Outside for a ball.
Memories of the nights at the Stick, where Brett Butler in center field becomes a rumor.
Pitch is inside. I'm not sure what that is. It's not fog. I thought it was fireworks at first, but I don't think anybody's. Did they set off fireworks? Oh, the fireworks from Disneyland? Is that what it is?
The fireworks from Disneyland?
That's a long way to blow in if it is. I'll tell you that much, but it might be. Here's the 2-0 pitch, and it's 3 balls and no strikes as Harris does not want to give up another long ball to Winfield, staying away from him, but in danger of putting him on base.
Can you see the write-up in the paper? Some outfielders saying, well, I lost the ball in the smoke created by the fireworks from Disneyland. Only in California would you get excuses like that.
And there it is, ball 4. Dave Winfield is on the potential tying run. Harris has walked his 2nd since coming on in relief. That'll bring up Stevens and Parrish. Told you there were back-to-back home runs in that 5th inning. Stevens followed Winfield, and again with Harris on the mound. It's a great cut right there.
Stevens probably won't get to face Harris again. Tony La Russa knows this now is a gift horse of a game for himself. And I wonder if he didn't get clinked up in the bullpen with just the thought that if a man got on, he'd bring Klink to pitch to Stevens, the left-hander.
He's made the decisions. Stevens walks away. Tony La Russa comes out. He will get Harris. Harris can still come out as a winner in this ball game if the A's can maintain the lead. watch and wait on the bench or in the clubhouse. Pitching change, Oakland up 7-6.
Where there have been 18 men on base and only one of them have scored. Klink used in just to a hitter or two situations has pitched 26 innings in 24 games. He's belonged to the Mets, he's belonged to Minnesota, and with Oakland. Is this a created relief pitcher? He started one game in the Sally League in 1983 and has never started another game in his life. Strictly in relief, nearly 300 games as a pro with one start.
Learned where the money was, didn't he? Winfield's at first base. 7-6 ball game. The A's are leading. Stevens 3 for 3 takes the pitch from Klink down low, ball 1. Lee Stevens against left-handers batting 176. He's only had 17 at-bats against the lefties this year, going 3 for 17. One of those, however, was a home run. Goes the other way. That'll be trouble if it stays fair, but it won't. And he played way around. Blankenship was way over. Klink, part of this famous bullpen of the Oakland A's. They don't blow many opportunities, and they don't give up many runs.
Klink is in what is now commonly being called a hold situation. All I want Klink to do is probably just get this hitter, as a matter of fact.
A's bullpen, their ERA is 2.27.
Because after it comes the right-hand hitting Parrish and the righty Bichette, so I think you can see Nelson after Klink. His job is to get Stevens.
Stevens takes the pitch inside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Great to have you with us. Barry Thorne, Norm Hitzges from the Big A in Anaheim. And the fireworks from Disneyland about a couple of miles away. Smoke's blown out. Here's the 2-1. And this is not what he wants to do. 3 balls and 1 strike. This is the old triple pitch. Stevens is going to get one to hit. It'll be right here. Parrish waiting on deck. One away, 3-1. He got one, fouled it back, 3-2. The Oakland A's, after trailing 6-0, coming back with 5 runs on 5 hits in the 7th inning. They were all earned. And there's Tony La Russa going through the signs for his catcher, Terry Steinbach, as to whether he wants to throw to first or a step off or anything. There goes Winfield, ball 4.
Likely the last pitch Klink will throw.
He does not get the job done. After the pop out by White, Winfield with a walk, and now Stevens with a walk. And Tony La Russa is on his way back out again to get Klink, as now California with the opportunity in the bottom of the 7th inning. Runners at first and second, and one away, and the big guy Parrish coming up. And why do you get him left-hander out of there? Because Parrish is hitting .326 with 5 home runs off left-handers. He won't see one here. Fans here at the Big A getting a show. Not quite what they wanted. We'll see our 4th A's pitcher.
It is Gene Nelson, who's only 29 years old. It seems like Gene Nelson's been around for a while. That's because he broke into the major leagues at the tender age of 20 years old with the Yankees. He's been the property of the Rangers, the Yankees, Seattle, the White Sox, and Oakland. He's found a real home here as a setup man out of the bullpen. In the last 3 years, he's 118 and saved 9. Fastball, low 90s, very good changeup, an occasional slider. He has a kind of a funny motion, and that's one of the keys to his success. His arms go all over the place, and the ball comes flying out of this oddball motion of his.
2 on. And only 1 away. Winfield and Stevens the base runners, and Parrish at the plate. And he pops the first one up into the seats. And for Parrish, here's a chance in this game of redeeming features to do a little redeeming. He has had a tough night. Twice swinging, once called, 3 times K'd. Adding .287 on the year. His strikeouts had not been that high. Only 62 strikeouts for Lance Parrish coming into the game. Add 3 to that. Dangerous hitter, though, in this situation. 0-1 by Nelson. Chance for two. Gallego, one. Randolph, they got the double play. Lance Parrish hits into an inning-ending double play after 2 walks had given him a chance. But no championship for the Angels. And there's Reggie Jackson, who is now a broadcaster, working here tonight.
He has lost his partner there. To his left is Paul Olden. His new partner is partner Joe Torre managing now.
Joe Torre has gone, of course, to the St. Louis Cardinals, had been broadcasting for the Angels. Mark McGwire, first ball hitting right field. That's deep at the wall, looking up. Goodbye, home run! Mark McGwire! And it is 8-6 Oakland. And Fraser knew it as soon as he threw it.
McGwire has incredible power.
Your attention, please. For Oakland, batting.
The ball just hit the other way,
Number 2.
and it just keeps going and going and going. White runs, the wall comes up. Ooh, good way to break an arm right there. Running full tilt into the wall with your arm extended, and White had no chance at that one.
28 home runs for Mark McGwire. They do a little elbow bashing, and it's 8-6.
Oh, missed. There we are.
Come back and get it. Doug Rader can't believe it's happening again.
You know, in a season that's gone as badly as Raiders, he can't even get a laugher that's a laugher.
Doug Jennings is the pinch hitter now for Lance Blankenship. Fraser's the pitcher of record in this ball game, coming on for Abbott. And Jennings takes the pitch outside. Here's another part of that Oakland bench we were talking about. Jennings has been up and down. Fraser now behind by 2. Oakland now has out-hit California 12-9. And Jennings pops it up, shallow right center field. Ray going back, White coming on. Ray calls. And Jennings, the pinch hitter, is retired. Run away here in the 8th inning. Home runs in the ball game. Dave Henderson has had his 18th. Mark McGwire is 28th, and McGwire now 3rd in the league in home runs. Just continues to be so productive, despite just a .216, 17 batting average. Every time McGwire gets a hit, there's an RBI with it. He now has 67 runs batted in on the season. McGwire's up among the top 10. That places him at 4th in RBIs. How do you do that with a .216 batting average? Willie Randolph fouls that one back.
Well, you drive yourself in 28 times to begin with.
That helps.
You know, McGwire has had home run years of 49, 32, 33, and he projects to over 40 this season.
Here's the 0-1, and that's fouled off. 0-2.
Gary, it may be time to start thinking of Mark McGwire. If he stays healthy long term, what's he going to do? I mean, the guy's got 145 homers, and he's 26 years old.
And a .259 lifetime hitter coming into the season. There's no way Mark McGwire is going to hit .220. Here's the 0-2. Not career kind of numbers. He may have that kind of year this year, but even then he produces. What's he going to do if he hits what he thinks he can hit, which is .260 or .270 or even better?
At the pace McGwire's going, he'll have nearly 300 homers by the time he's 30. That's scary.
Fraser, the 1-2 delivery, and it's fouled back by Willie Randolph. What a turnaround this ball game has been. 6-0 lead earlier. It was California putting the home runs up. Winfield has had his 14th. Lee Stevens had his 3rd. And it built up 6-0 lead. Abbott was cruising along, and then all of a sudden, in the 6th inning, an error kept an inning alive, and Dave Henderson got that 2-run homer to start it, and then 5 runs in the 7th. Randolph fights off Fraser's pitch. Fraser's just trying to keep himself up now. After that home run by McGwire, he just turned towards the 3rd baseline and put his head down and walked away. He never turned around to watch the ball. He knew it was gone, even though it didn't clear the fence by all that much. And now he's trying to regroup. 1-2 to Randolph. 2-2. A stunned crowd here of Angel fans. Inside, and the count is full. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Three-two delivery. Strike 3 called. So after all that, Randolph is gone as Frazier has his second strikeout, and there are 2 away in the 8th.
Willie, I don't know what he was bending out of the way of. The ball was right down the pipe. He got a pitch he didn't think he was going to get there.
That'll bring up Gallego. Big hit in the 7th inning for Mike Gallego. He's batting just .215, but he's gone 2 for 3 here tonight. And he's picked up a couple of RBIs to boot with that bases loaded hit in the 7th. That chased Abbott. Brought on Frazier. One.
Well, we've gotten to the 8th inning, and Oakland led 7-6 beginning this inning. This year, when Oakland has taken a lead into the 8th inning, they're 56-2.
There's that bullpen again. Gallego to short, played by Schofield. And Frazier's out of the inning, but not before the McGuire leadoff home run extends the lead. 8-6. Seiko had to leave the game with a stomach virus, and after all of that, the A's still have a 2-run lead.
It's almost like a football game, isn't it? It was played in halves. The Angels won the first half, and Oakland's winning the second half.
Fortunately, you don't get any points for the half win. All right, there's Jennings, who stays in the game for Blankenship in left. Doug Jennings, defensive replacement, and was a pinch hitter. Well, let's see if the California Angels can battle back here. Nelson on. Harris, the pitcher of record.
And a pinch hitter.
Looking for his first major league win. And Luis Polonia will come on to pinch hit for Dante Bichette.
This, Gary, this gives a chance to use the weirdest stat I've seen this season. California Angels have used 61 pinch hitters this year. They have gotten 1 RBI.
They won't get one on here. Yes, they will. An error by Gallego at short. He was charging on a ball hit off the end of the bat by Luis Polonia. Just couldn't control it. And it's a hit.
It's a what?
It's a hit.
It's a what?
It's a hit. And that'll be the 10th for California. The pinch hitter Polonia is on at first base.
That's a hit?
Here's Ray.
What is this, Christmas? Come on. This is getting out of hand in the big leagues.
22 hits in the game now. And the potential tying runs at the plate. Johnny Ray. Nelson working. He's just the 3rd batter he's faced. He got the double play to end the 7th. Klink ended up going no part of an inning, giving up a walk. Harris worked 2, giving up 2 hits. That's fouled back by Ray. Strike 2. Chicago White Sox winning again, so the A's trying to maintain the lead that they started with here today, that 3.5 game lead. Eckersley on the left, Honeycutt on the right. White Sox have beaten the Oakland A's 4 of the 7 games they've played thus far this season. Ray, Nelson throws it, got 1 and almost got 2, and a surprise Gallego. As he went to second base, Willie Randolph was already there, and Gallego and Randolph looking at each other at second base. Gallego thought the ball was being thrown away into center field. They do get the force out, however. You see Gallego and Ray talking now as they were confused on the coverage at second.
Dick Schofield.
It appears that Randolph was the man because Nelson throws the ball right to Randolph, but the confusion could have resulted in that ball being thrown away.
Three people mighty close. So they get the lead runner. Ray's on at first base, one away, and Schofield, the 2 for 3 night, hitting .203. Up high by Nelson.
The new Dick Schofield will try to take a guy like Gene Nelson to right field. Guy that throws hard. Schofield was a little guy that tried to pull the ball a lot. And he's trying to change that. This is a guy he might want to, with that low 90s fastball, try to take the other way. Big hole between first and second.
Just inside. Schofield got his RBI in the 4th inning. And that was a big inning because they left the bases loaded. As you look back now.
Gary, on this pitch, watch the glove of Gene Nelson. One of the things that makes it very hard to pick up is what he does with his glove.
This is down low, 3-0.
He waves it at the hitter. Once he brings the ball to the glove, watch the glove. It waves right in the face of the hitter. Watch the glove. See the glove? He waggles it right out in front and hides the ball behind it. And that little motion with the glove, he'll flick that glove across, can disturb the hitter's ability to pick the ball up.
Which all pitchers want to do, but he didn't get it in the strike zone, and he gives up a walk. So Schofield is on. And now runners on at first and second with one away, and the top of the order coming up. And getting up, Tony La Russa, and he's on his way out. He was talking to Dave Duncan, his pitching coach. And Downing, the DH and leadoff batter, will have to wait. We're talking about that 4th inning, and the Angels had the bases loaded and only one away. Harris came on and got Downing and Hill to fly out, leaving the bases loaded. So what could have been a bigger inning wasn't, and that's going to be it for Nelson. We're going to see the 5th pitcher coming on now for the Oakland A's. And Tony La Russa, as always, not hesitant to go to that pen, and now he'll bring the stopper on. Dennis Eckersley will make his way in. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of Major League Baseball may not be reproduced or retransmitted prior to midnight in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball and that couple at the Dome.
This seems a bit early for Dennis Eckersley. Usually he's a 9th inning pitcher, but Eckersley has a pretty good rest, and on he comes in the 8th with runners at first and second. And Eckersley just continues to put incredible numbers on the board. Let's start with his earned run average. .79. There is nothing to the left of the decimal in his earned run average. He's pitched 45 innings, and if you and hits, he's allowed 27 base runners. In 45 innings, he's allowed count 'em, one homer. Last year, Garrett, he hung up the most remarkable record. This is a guy that allowed less base runners than he had saves last year. That's just utterly unbelievable.
This is a starting pitcher for a good part of his career, who transformed his whole career into the bullpen. You mentioned that one home run that has been given up by Dennis Eckersley. Well, Dennis Eckersley may well have to face the guy who got that one home run off him here this inning. He will work with runners at first and second, and Downing, the designated hitter, will be coming to the plate. Obviously they'll be looking for that ground ball double play, but on deck waving the bat is Donnie Hill, and that's the person who had the home run off Eckersley, and it came last Thursday. So if Downing's able to keep it going, he'll have to face Donnie Hill. This is last Thursday. This is that one home run Norm was talking about that Donnie Hill got in Oakland. He will wait and look.
Eckersley has had 34 save opportunities. He's made good in 33 of them. I believe his one failure was in the game against Texas.
Here's the situation. 2 on. Ray at second. Schofield at first. 1 out. Bottom half of the 8th inning. Oakland leading it by a score of 8-6. And the Angels are trying to do what the A's have done to them, and that's mount the rally and get the lead back. And Downing takes the delivery for a strike.
One last incredible note on Dennis Eckersley. For the last 2 years, Dennis walks 1 man every 17 innings.
He had that incredible stretch this season where he just didn't walk anybody.
In 88, 89, and 90, in April, he allowed no runs. He's 0 for the last 3 years in April. Fast starter, and that's been a key to Oakland. They bolted from the gate because of him.
Foul back by Downing. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Ray goes back to second base and Schofield to first. Well, the other saves picked up by the Oakland pen. Gene Nelson has 4 and Burns has picked up 2. Eckersley with the 33. Rader hoping. A 1-2. He chased it. And Downing becomes a strikeout victim. And Eckersley now has 2 down and will face Donnie Hill.
Runs the ball out of the strike zone high. Downing is behind the ball.
2 down, 2 on, 2-run difference. Hill goes the other way with it. Jennings is there, and Eckersley gets the job done. And the California Angels, getting a couple on, leave them there.
Another complete game for Ramon Martinez tonight at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. His 8th complete game of the season, leads the majors in that category, scattering 6 hits as the Dodgers beat the Giants 11-2. The Giants lose for only the 2nd time in their last 10 games. Now let's go back to the 9th inning in Anaheim. Here's Gary Thorne.
Charlie, what a season for Martinez. He's going to become part of that Dodger history of great pitchers in a hurry. 9th inning, A's have Ricky Henderson leading it off with a 2-run lead. Henderson, who doesn't take many offers, has taken one here tonight. And it's still going to be an offer. Hauled in by Luis Polonia in left field. And Henderson's retired, 1 away in the 9th inning. Ricky 0 for 4.
Carney Lansford.
Well, the league's leading hitter. And have the average drop down a bit. Carney Lansford coming up.
Texas got 9 runs tonight, so it's conceivable Rafael Palmeiro did a little damage. That might tighten up that batting race a lot.
Popped him up. First base. Stevens is there and puts it away. There are 2 down. Mark McGwire on the Oakland bench has delivered a home run here tonight. McGwire now 3rd in the league with 28 home runs. Canseco and Fielder now tied for the lead with 34, and you see the chance for 50+ homers is there, and have only been 3 seasons where that's happened. Greenberg and Fox, Mize and Kiner, Maris and Mantle in 61, the last time 2 players in a season going 50+. Tell you, McGwire gets going, they may have 3 this year. Mark's not that far behind.
No, he projects into the middle 40s right now.
He's not had a hot bat. Felix Jose, who came on for Canseco, who left the game with a stomach virus, is 1-1, 2 down, nobody on.
Well, he tends to hit him in bunches too. McGwire might have a week. We might come back here a week from now, and McGwire may be at 32.
Tag him, have multi-homer days. 1-1. Frazier is the pitcher of record for the California Angels, coming on for Abbott, charged with 6 runs, 4 earned, and 8 hits over 6 1/3. The go-ahead runs off Frazier. 2-1. front of that one. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The 9th inning at the Big A in Anaheim. And our second half of the doubleheader here in ESPN this Friday night. It had been a 6-0 California lead. Oakland now up by 2, and the Angels are only going to get 1 more shot at it. Zay fouls it off. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And they're going to have to beat Dennis Eckersley.
They'll have the middle of the order due up: White, Winfield, and Stevens. Two delivery. Fights it off again.
How likely is it to beat Dennis Eckersley? He's thrown nearly 160 games in the last 3 years with Oakland, and he's lost 4 times. And he saved 111.
Just 9 shy now of the club record. Swung on and missed. So Fraser retires the side in order in the 9th. The Angels 1 more shot against the Eck. Eckersley by 1. Eck with 33. The White Sox did win their game today. The A's win would leave them 3.5 ahead of the White Sox, and White takes the strike. He has had the over here tonight. Lansford way in at third base on him, looking for the bunt. And White tries to drive it into his teeth and fouls it back 0-2. Next Friday here on ESPN, we'll be here on the West Coast again and see the Oakland A's at home, this time against the New York Yankees. Second half of our Friday night doubleheader next Friday. White to short. Gallego to first. 1 out. Dave Winfield coming up. A very quiet Angels bench. Sports Center coming up next here on ESPN. We will have all the day's highlights, bringing you up to date on Major League Baseball, what's going on in that department. Tom Mees and Ann Montgomery will be there. Almost a couple no-hitters again today. Dale Murphy's been traded. The NBA, Orlando Woolridge traded again. And all the final baseball scores. That's next. Winfield waiting. 14th home run in the 5th inning. 3 runs scored on every time he's been up. Inside for a ball. Dennis Eckersley, mentioned, had been a starter in the beginning of his career. Went to the pen in '87, and since then has been 87% effective since 1987. And picking up saves and save opportunities. 127 saves and 146 chances. Fraser, who's the opposing pitcher of record, waiting on the bench for the Angels. (2-0). Winfield off the handle. That may fall in. Yes, Jennings is playing almost on the warning track in left field. And Winfield delivers a 1-out single here in the 9th inning. Dave Jennings literally was standing on the warning track and left. There wasn't going to be anything hit over his head that would stay in the park by Winfield. But that bloop, which would have been caught had he been playing normal depth, falls in for the 11th Angels hit.
Well, what a night for Winfield. 2 singles, a homer, a walk, and a hit by pitch. He's already scored 3 times. Another guy having a big night.
Swung on by Stevens to center. Dave Henderson straight away. And they finally get Stevens. 3 for 4 for Stevens, including a home run. Winfield back at first, and there are 2 down.
And immediately Steinbach's the mound to talk to Eckersley. One gets the feeling that was not the pitch Steinbach was looking for.
Any other part of this ballpark and it's out of here, but it was straight away dead center. Eckersley has given up only 1 home run. One to Donnie Hill. Well, you don't get him off him very easily.
Well, what an awful spot for Lance Parrish to be up to end the evening. He has had a cursed evening at the park tonight.
Fouls it back. 3 strikeouts and a double play ground ball in the 7th inning to end the inning. Which means he'll probably tie the ball game up here with a home run.
Yeah, we'll be here till 4:30.
Winfield at first. Foul back, and Eckersley's ahead of the count 0-2. Will this be the night that Harris gets his first major league win? Reggie Harris is waiting to see. He's the pitcher of record for the Oakland A's. 0-2 delivery. Runs him inside.
You know, with the incredible success Eckersley's had out of the bullpen, it's almost forgotten that Eckersley balked at going to the bullpen. He did not want to be a bullpen pitcher. He'd spent his life as a starter and did not like initially.
Swung on and missed. Struck him out. The game's over. Dennis Eckersley gets his 34th save, tying him with Bobby Thigpen. The A's remain 3.5 up.
It's almost a double case of deja vu, isn't it, Gary? Oakland's seen this type of game many, many times over the last couple of years. This is why Oakland's such a championship caliber team. This is also why California is near the bottom in the West this year. They've seen a game like this before, too.
3 wins in a row for the Oakland A's, and they are now 6-1 against the California Angels. For Norm Hitzges, this is Gary Thorne. Thank you for joining us. Good night, everybody, from the Big A. Charlie Steiner.
Thank you, Gary. So the